collapse forever. Greetings, and a warm welcome back to the illuminating realm of understanding narcissism. Today's feature delves into a pressing inquiry. What unfolds when a narcissist faces collapse? What catalysts lead to their unraveling? Throughout our lives, we all encounter moments of psychological anguish, or what one might term an emotional implosion. Before delving into this inquiry, allow me a brief preamble. Consider, for instance, the sting of failure in endeavors dear to our hearts, despite our utmost efforts. Or the shattering of our emotional fortitude through heartbreak. Such experiences can render us crestfallen and beleaguered. Yet, let us differentiate between the common human experience of emotional turmoil and the specific phenomenon of a narcissistic breakdown. It resembles an unchecked mental upheaval, akin to an uncontrollable cognitive collision. While some of these upheavals may endure fleetingly, others may persist for prolonged durations. To grasp the intricacies of a narcissistic breakdown, one must apprehend the frailty of a narcissist's self-concept. They incessantly crave attention, validation, and adulation, driven by an insatiable thirst for affirmation. Not only do they harbor a sense of entitlement, but they also exhibit a flagrant disregard for others' welfare. Narcissism manifests in multifarious forms. The grandiose narcissist embodies these traits as a habitual demeanor, exuding arrogance, dominance, and a profound aversion to constructive critique. Conversely, the vulnerable narcissist demonstrates signs of despondency, perpetually casting themselves as victims, ensnared in the web of guilt and hypersensitivity to rebuke. Regardless of outward demeanor, we often discern a plethora of maladaptive defenses erected to shield their fragile self-perception. The evasion of responsibility and obligation often stems from this propensity, leading individuals to deflect accountability onto others for their actions, attitudes, and motivations. Yet, these defenses inevitably crumble when faced with circumstances where they prove ineffectual, particularly within certain interpersonal dynamics. The responses to such collapses vary among individuals, though narcissists typically undergo a torrent of intense emotions, ranging from seething anger and frustration to profound anxiety, debilitating sadness, and even a sense of desperation. What occurs when these protective barriers falter? What precipitates a narcissistic unraveling? Primarily, it may stem from experiencing embarrassment, especially if the situation unfolds publicly. This could involve encountering failure, having one's mistakes pointed out by others, becoming the subject of ridicule, or feeling overwhelmed and uncertain about how to proceed. Employing intellect, feigning wisdom, or assuming an air of righteousness fails to elicit the narcissistic adulation they crave. Humility eludes narcissists, particularly when confronted with the superiority or expertise of others. Their fragile self-image hinges on external validation, compelling them to seek constant approval to bolster their sense of importance. Perceiving themselves as anything less than faultless or exemplary leaves them feeling vulnerable, a sensation they struggle to endure. The acknowledgement of their imperfections serves as a stark reminder, undermining their facade and exacerbating their internal turmoil. The unraveling of a narcissist can also be precipitated by the erosion of their public image or social standing. Exposed for their deceit, Machiavellian schemes, and reprehensible conduct, they find themselves unable to salvage their tarnished reputation, regardless of attempts to shift blame, inflate their self-importance, or adopt the victim narrative. Such circumstances may plunge them into a state of despondency, fueled by the consuming emotion of shame. Moreover, the looming prospect of losing their prestige, social standing, or facing exposure intensifies their distress. The realization dawns upon them that their actions or words carry consequences, prompting apprehension. In a bid to deflect attention from themselves, they concoct myriad excuses or diversions, yet these efforts prove futile in ameliorating their predicament. The gnawing fear of impending loss of status paralyzes them, rendering them incapable of action. The prospect of a future devoid of adulation or envy engenders such profound anxiety that it impairs their ability to function in the present moment. Indeed, the mere thought of relinquishing their illusion of uniqueness and entitlement serves as a potent catalyst for their downfall. They confront the sobering reality that they are not as entitled or exceptional as they perceive themselves to be, and that no special privileges await them simply for adhering to societal norms. Their expectation of unwavering admiration or preferential treatment crumbles under the weight of equitable treatment, a revelation they misconstrue as unjust persecution. Their already fragile confidence and compromised self-esteem further deteriorate amid such tribulations. Resorting to tactics like spreading rumors, portraying themselves as victims of injustice, throwing tantrums, or employing stonewalling techniques, they seek to assert control over their perceived mistreatment. Their relentless pursuit of regaining a semblance of power over their circumstances knows no bounds. However, their efforts to regain their selfish gratification prove futile as their grandiose plans crumble or lose efficacy. Regardless of their perceived uniqueness or supposed omnipotence, their assertions fall on deaf ears, met with indifference to their purported intelligence, attractiveness, or virtues. The absence of enablers, sycophants, or confederates exacerbates their plight, leaving them adrift in a sea of isolation. Perhaps the tide turns as people cease to believe their fabrications, relegating them to oblivion. Devoid of admiration or intimidation, they find themselves bereft of the validation they incessantly seek, descending into desperation. Their reputation precedes them, and their futile attempts at evasion only lead to further humiliation. Eventually, the simmering resentment and anxiety transform into excruciating anguish. Many deeply narcissistic individuals remain oblivious to others' emotions, either by choice or incapacity to empathize. This incapacity may evoke feelings of shame and vulnerability in their interlocutors. Despite professing profound distress, their inability to articulate the source or nature of their anguish betrays a fundamental lack of self-awareness. The absence of empathy renders them oblivious or indifferent to others' perspectives, unable to comprehend why their desires remain unfulfilled or why some individuals thrive in their absence. At best, they shift blame onto others for their suffering, perpetuating a cycle of self-delusion and emotional isolation. Certainly, individuals entrenched in narcissistic traits often resort to deflecting responsibility or alleging unfair treatment, struggling to acknowledge their own role in precipitating the circumstances. Their attempts to mitigate the stress of collapse may manifest as desperate, irrational, or hastily conceived actions aimed at escaping the pain and shame rather than addressing the root cause. Occasionally, they may offer apologies, albeit more out of remorse for the consequences rather than genuine contrition for their actions. Amidst the chaos of collapse, some may recognize the need for change and seek assistance, yet the depth of their commitment to self-improvement hinges on the extent to which their ego is entrenched. The crux of the issue lies in their steadfast adherence to defensive mechanisms, deflecting blame away from themselves and consequently obstructing genuine introspection and growth. Persisting in repetitive patterns without internalizing lessons learned perpetuates a cycle of stagnation. Those with covert narcissism may exploit their fall from grace or ensuing sadness to garner attention or sympathy, even resorting to leveraging social media platforms for validation. This encapsulates a succinct overview of the phenomenon known as narcissistic collapse. Your insights are invaluable, and I welcome any additional contributions in the space provided below. These discussions often catalyze thought-provoking conversations. If you found this discourse engaging, consider subscribing to my channel for more insightful content. Thank you for your viewership, and until next time.
Hey there, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the intriguing realm of narcissistic manipulation, unveiling the subtle phrases they employ to exert control and sow discord. These phrases aren't merely words, they're cunning tools wielded to subjugate and dominate others. As we uncover these 9 phrases, it's crucial to discern not just their surface meaning, but the insidious intent lurking beneath. Equipping yourself with this knowledge empowers you to resist manipulation and safeguard your independence. And remember, if you find this content enlightening, don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more thought-provoking discussions. Share this video with those who might benefit, and share your own experiences or insights in the comments below. Phrase number 1. Evading accountability. When confronted about their actions or personal life, narcissists often resort to the phrase, "My personal affairs are private. I don't owe you any explanations." While it may seem like a gesture of respecting boundaries, it's a clever ploy to shirk responsibility and maintain a facade of deception. By cloaking their personal life in secrecy, narcissists sidestep accountability and evade facing consequences for their actions. They portray inquiries into their personal affairs as intrusions, allowing them to deceive and manipulate without fear of repercussion. This duplicitous behavior erodes trust and undermines the authenticity of relationships. Furthermore, it's particularly hypocritical as narcissists frequently pry into others' lives while vehemently guarding their own. It reveals their belief that they are exempt from the standards of fairness and reciprocity. Phrase number 2. Externalizing anger. When confronted about their volatile temper, narcissists often deflect blame by asserting, "You make me angry. It's your fault for provoking me." Rather than acknowledging their own emotional volatility, they shift blame onto others, absolving themselves of accountability and perpetuating a cycle of aggression. By attributing their anger to external triggers, narcissists avoid confronting their underlying issues and negative patterns of behavior. This cycle of blame allows them to remain entrenched in destructive behaviors without seeking personal growth or change. To navigate interactions with narcissists effectively, it's crucial to recognize that they are responsible for managing their own emotions. Refusing to accept blame for their outbursts enables you to establish boundaries and prioritize your own emotional well-being. Phrase number 3. Shunning critique. Narcissists recoil from criticism, often retorting, "Quit scrutinizing my every move." You're overly critical, as a tactic to deflect accountability and evade scrutiny. Instead of embracing constructive feedback, they resort to accusing others of being excessively judgmental, even when the criticism is warranted. Labeling others as judgmental serves as a shield for narcissists to avoid acknowledging their imperfections. Rather than owning up to their flaws, they deploy guilt-tripping tactics to divert attention away from their shortcomings. When confronted with their behavior, they manipulate the narrative by portraying themselves as victims of unjust scrutiny, thereby thwarting any meaningful dialogue and hindering personal growth. Phrase number 4. Weaponizing kindness. The phrase, "I intended to be kind, but now you've forfeited that privilege," serves as a manipulative tool in relationships. Employed alongside actions that withhold kindness, it serves to assert dominance and diminish the worth of the other party. This manipulative tactic manifests as a struggle for power and control within the relationship dynamics. Whether directed towards family, romantic partners, or friends, this form of manipulation seeks to instill doubt and feelings of inadequacy in the recipient. The sudden withdrawal of support or affection leaves the recipient feeling uncertain and undeserving, perpetuating a cycle of emotional turmoil and dependency. By attaching conditions to kindness, the manipulator exerts control over the emotional landscape of the relationship, fostering a sense of perpetual insecurity and dependence in the recipient. Victims of this manipulation are left questioning their self-worth and grappling with feelings of anxiety and confusion, undermining their ability to trust and maintain healthy relationships. Phrase number 5, reversing control accusations. Narcissists often retort with statements like, "You're attempting to control me," when confronted with boundaries or expected respectful conduct. This tactic serves to invert the power dynamic, portraying the narcissist as the victim despite their attempts to manipulate the situation. By shifting blame onto the other party and alleging control, they craft a distorted narrative that perpetuates their dominance. When faced with established boundaries or clear expectations, they deflect by portraying themselves as victims of unwarranted imposition. This manipulation tactic undermines the foundation of a healthy relationship and impedes the victim's ability to assert themselves. Recognizing this manipulation is crucial for asserting one's right to boundaries, despite the guilt-tripping tactics employed by the narcissist. Though victims may experience confusion and self-doubt, maintaining firm boundaries is paramount for safeguarding their well-being. Phrase number 6, arbitrarily imposed regulations. Narcissists often enforce arbitrary rules in relationships, stating, "It's permissible when I do it, but not when you do," thereby establishing unfair guidelines. This behavior reflects their belief in their superiority, asserting their entitlement to act without restraint while dictating the actions of others. By imposing rules selectively, they foster an environment of inequality and diminish the other person's confidence. Living under such unjust standards erodes self-assurance and fosters a sense of inadequacy. This manipulative tactic perpetuates a cycle of subservience and control, leaving the victim feeling marginalized and disempowered. To counteract this manipulation, it's essential to identify these disparities and establish boundaries to shield oneself from unjust treatment. Phrase number 7, distorting reality. Narcissists employ gaslighting techniques, stating, "That's not how I recall it," to sow seeds of doubt regarding your recollection and the actual events. They manipulate the truth and deny their actions to undermine your confidence and question your sanity. Through this revisionist approach, they portray themselves positively while casting doubt on your credibility, exerting control over your perceptions. By distorting the past, they absolve themselves of accountability and maintain their grip on power. Keeping meticulous records of events can serve as a safeguard against their deceit, enabling you to uphold the truth and resist their attempts to manipulate your reality. Phrase number 8, asserting opinions as truths. Narcissists assert dominance by treating their opinions as incontrovertible truths, declaring, "My opinions are infallible, and dissenting views are simply foolish." They perceive themselves as intellectually superior and dismissive of alternative perspectives, stifling meaningful dialogue and diminishing your intellectual autonomy. This haughty demeanor stifles authentic discourse, leaving you feeling intellectually inferior for daring to hold differing viewpoints. Asserting your independence and refusing to yield to their attempts to dictate your beliefs is vital for personal growth and emancipation from their narrow-mindedness. Phrase number 9, disregarding your concerns. Narcissists dismiss your apprehensions with statements like, "I couldn't care less about your or anyone else's opinions," deflecting accountability for their actions. They project an air of self-assurance and independence while covertly seeking validation and admiration. Despite feigning indifference to external judgments, they crave affirmation from those within their inner circle, revealing their dependency on external validation. Their indifference to criticism is selectively applied, serving as a facade to shield them from accountability. Over time, their facade may crumble, leading to strained relationships as their inability to maintain the illusion of perfection becomes apparent. If confronted with a narcissist, remember the validity of your concerns and assert your right to express them, refusing to allow them to invalidate your emotions. By illuminating these manipulative tactics, we empower individuals to discern the warning signs of narcissistic abuse and shield themselves from its detrimental impact. Remember, you're not navigating this alone, and assistance is within reach. If you find yourself ensnared in a manipulative dynamic, seek out trusted confidants, whether they be friends, family members, or mental health professionals, who can provide invaluable guidance and support as you embark on your path to healing and restoration. Together, we can liberate ourselves from the cycle of manipulation and foster wholesome, enriching relationships founded on mutual esteem and compassion. If you found this discourse enlightening and enriching, consider making a contribution, even as little as $1, through our Ko-Fi page. Each contribution, irrespective of its magnitude, significantly contributes to the maintenance and enhancement of our content quality. As a token of our gratitude for those who choose to become members, your name will be prominently featured at the onset of our videos, symbolizing our deep appreciation for your generous patronage. Your support fuels our ongoing endeavor to deliver content that resonates with you, and we extend our heartfelt appreciation for your indispensable role in our community. Discover the Ko-Fi link in the description below and become an esteemed member of our journey. Don't overlook the opportunity to engage further by liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing this video with others who could derive benefit from its insights. Thank you for tuning in. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another enlightening journey of self-discovery. Before delving into today's captivating topic, I extend a warm invitation to join our community by hitting the subscribe button and tapping the follow button to stay connected with us on this empowering path. In today's discussion, we're delving into the aftermath of parting ways with a narcissist. Yes, the journey of healing begins as soon as you walk away. So, are you prepared to unveil the truths behind this transformative journey? Let's dive straight in. At this juncture, the breakup has occurred. Regardless of who initiated it, whether you or the narcissist, the reality remains that you're no longer in the picture. Most likely, as mentioned earlier, you've reclaimed control of your life and swiftly exited the situation. Now that you've departed, let's discuss the aftermath with the character you've left behind. So, where do we begin? Brace yourself for the unfolding drama, as here's how it's likely to unfold, ensuring you're prepared for what lies ahead. If you've experienced this scenario, you've probably encountered the so-called flying monkeys and others still associated with the narcissist. Here's how the drama unfolds. Now that you've departed, those close to the narcissist have witnessed this scenario play out before, but they won't divulge the truth, particularly family members. They're unlikely to acknowledge that they'd witnessed others like you leave in the past, and yet the same narrative repeats itself each time. It's a truth they won't disclose. So, the narcissist has their strategy set in motion. They've already begun tarnishing your reputation even before the breakup occurred. The smear campaign is in full swing. Now that you've departed, the narcissist turns to their support network, weaving a narrative to suit their agenda. Let's imagine how a female narcissist might articulate her grievances. Speaking from her perspective, she might assert, "I always had my doubts about her stability from the outset. I warned you about her controlling tendencies, how she insisted on having things her way. She tried to dictate who I could spend time with, especially my lifelong friends. She constantly monitored my interactions and activities. I'm an independent woman." Likewise, for men, the rhetoric might echo similar sentiments. She disapproved of my friendships with other women. She harbored suspicions, accusing me of infidelity or deceit. She demanded excessive control. This is the narrative they disseminate to their allies. It's the tale they spin to anyone who will lend an ear. This is their version of events. Those who heed their words become complicit in the drama. As one member of our circle astutely remarked, I must confess, it did amuse me. However, let's refocus. This is where the theatrics commence. Yet, remember, this isn't new territory for them. They're adept at this game. They initiated the character assassination long before the breakup. They're selective about their audience, targeting individuals they anticipate will amplify their narrative once you're no longer in the picture. These are the same individuals who harbored reservations about you from the very beginning. Their demeanor and treatment towards you betrayed their underlying sentiments. Initially, they appeared amiable and showered you with praise, remarking, "She's so kind, intelligent, and beautiful." However, as fissures emerged in your relationship with the narcissist, you began to detect incongruities. They sought out those with preconceived notions about you, asserting, "She's attractive, she's well educated." For men, the narrative echoed a similar tune. They engaged in conversations, sowing seeds of doubt about you, systematically eroding your character long before severing ties. They had already tainted others' perceptions of you. If you extended invitations, they would fabricate excuses like, "Apologies, we have prior commitments," when in reality they were simply avoiding you. The narcissist had fed them a narrative tailored to their desires. Remember, a narcissist orchestrates every detail meticulously. Now let's discuss the aftermath. They had already begun spreading malicious gossip about you prior to the breakup. Following the separation, they intensified their smear campaign. They revisited individuals they had previously engaged with, perhaps a sibling or a parent, anyone receptive to their falsehoods. They targeted anyone willing to lend an ear. They were adept at discerning whom to approach, recognizing those who harbored disdain towards you from the outset. They understood that their relationship with you was unsustainable, and now the repercussions ensue. So, who will shoulder their financial burdens now? Who will attend to their culinary needs? Who will bridge the monetary chasms they left behind? In truth, they scarcely contributed, yet you made allowances out of affection. I understand. I've traversed similar terrain. They're merely envious detractors, plain and simple. Thus, the narcissist turns to these detractors to perpetuate their chariot. But wait, it gets even worse. The smear campaign doesn't stop there. Who's going to play the role of their new sugar daddy or mommy now? They have to rely on their fresh supply, their not-so-great new supply. Yes, I said it, and I mean it. The new supply can't even come close to providing what you could. And here's the thing. The narcissist always believes the grass is greener on the other side. But as they're soon going to realize, that grass isn't always as lush once they get there. If only they had taken better care of the lawn they already had. But let's face it, they're not capable of that. They lack the skills because, let's be honest, they're selectively ignorant. Yes, I said it, and I stand by it. They can't think logically. And when you're dealing with someone who can't reason, well, you're dealing with a fool, plain and simple. Now that you're out of the picture, you've taken back control, my friend. You're no longer in the equation. Now the narcissist has to rely on their entourage, their minions, who are now picking up the tab, preparing the meals. Now you're receiving calls from these minions because they're attempting to lure you back to the narcissist. They're engaging in what's known as proxy hoovering. They'll say things like, "Hey, how are you? You know, he or she told us about the situation, and we think maybe you too should talk things out, try to reconcile. It's a shame to just let it all go. Think about the children. Take a few days to cool off, and then maybe give it another shot. Take a few days. Seriously, return to that chaos. No way. You might be hurting immensely right now, feeling like a part of your soul has been torn away. But let me tell you, it's better to endure that pain now than to even consider going back. Here's the truth. Now that you're moving forward, the true suffering begins. Because guess what? The new supply isn't measuring up. They can't fulfill the narcissist's needs like you could. And why is that? Because the moment you exited the scene, they lost their appeal. They were a blast to be around when you were in the spotlight, doing everything for the narcissist. While you were putting in all the effort to keep things running smoothly, they were out enjoying themselves. Most of the time, these individuals don't even have a real job, and if they do, it's nothing remarkable. You were carrying the entire load while they were off gallivanting, returning home with a smile as if they hadn't a care in the world. Now, my friend, it's time to confront the aftermath. Because the crew and all those associates have to step up to cover the gaps you left behind. So yes, prepare yourself for those calls. Or perhaps you've already received them, suggesting it's time to talk things through. And you know what? If you receive that call while watching this, set the record straight. Listen, I've reached a point where I want to engage in discussions with someone who never truly cared about me. Let's be honest, they never really gave a damn about you. They knew you were dealing with chaos, a complete mess, and they didn't lift a finger to assist. Why entertain someone like that? Now they're just trying to alleviate their own burden and dump it back onto you. No, thank you. I've reclaimed control of my life, and I'm moving onward. They can handle that chaos themselves. Let them deal with it, just like they did before you entered the picture. Because now that you've moved forward, the tables have turned. Let them confront their own mess. Let them face the repercussions of their actions. Now that you've stepped out of the pain zone, stay out. It's all part of the strategy, remember. Elevate your energy, trust your instincts, crank it up to the maximum. That's the only way to steer clear of these individuals. They're not in your corner, keep that in mind. Now that you've moved on, the hardship begins for them. Let them drown in it with their pals and their new distractions. It's a done deal. Before we wrap things up, remember to stay blessed and keep your chin up. I'll catch you in the next one. And hey, if you enjoy what we're creating and want to support us, consider chipping in as little as $1 on our Ko-Fi page. Every contribution, regardless of size, goes a long way in helping us maintain and enhance the quality of our content. As a special thank you to those who choose to become members, your name will be featured at the start of our videos, showing our gratitude for your generous support. Your backing enables us to keep delivering the content you cherish, and we're incredibly grateful for your vital role in our community. Find the link in the description below and become a valued member of our journey. Drop a like, share your thoughts in the comments if you believe it could benefit someone else. Don't hesitate, spread the word. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more. Your support means everything, and we'll continue bringing you top-notch content. Stay resilient, folks. Until next time.